Well, to start off this build of the Procunier Collets, I thought I'd start a discussion just on taps. Remember, I'm not an expert or professional, just a home hobbyist guy, and I thought I'd pass on some information that at least is relevant to me in learning and maybe help everybody out there. So this is probably some standard that most everybody in the hobbyist trade or home guy has. This is a tap and die set. Oh, I got, God, when I was in my 20s, I'm 60 now. My buddy gave it to me for a birthday present. It served me well over the years. There's the set. You know, it's your typical, goes up to half-inch course. What I wanted to show you, is the markings on the tap, and hopefully this will come up in the camera. But it's pretty typical. This is a 3/8/16. Yeah, it's got a part number on it, and it says use a 5/16 drill to create the clearance hole for your tap. So I'm going to have a little more discussion on taps themselves. Be back to you shortly. Well, just a short review of tapping handles, since we are going to be talking about the Procunier, which is going to be tapping in the drill press. These are, of course, manual handles, and taps come in various sizes. This is a big guy. I don't have an actual wrench for that. Got a few of these laying around, but your average size that most guys have fit, up to probably a 5/8 tap. There's various sizes, as you can see, and the sizes, of course, would adapt to smaller taps also for usage. They do make them with a ratcheting mechanism in them, where you can slide them over and they ratchet. It's nice when it's in close quarters and you have a problem. Here's a holder for really small taps. This one's probably a 00 or something. I can't even read it, to be honest with you. And here's another tap holder for that has an extension so you can reach down into things. And then, of course, here's your straight handle type of tap handle for in doing tapping. Another thing that I've picked up, these are made by Irwin, and they fit a 3/8 drive socket, and those work well on air ratchets. I don't know if you've seen guys do this, but you put the tap in there and you just run your 3/8 drive air ratchet, and you can power tap with that also. Works really well. And then one other thing, of course, for tapping are tapping blocks. I think you guys have seen them and probably have made them for yourself. They do come in handy when you're hand tapping to get something straight. Basically you're setting the block on your work, and then you're using the block as a guide to keep your tap straight as you enter the hole. Okay, just a little more basic stuff that I've got and thought I'd share. Be back to you shortly. Well, another little subject as we head on taps is, over the years, I showed you I had my Craftsman kit here, and when I went to tap a hole, of course, I had to open it up, had to dig out the tap, and then read what clearance hole drill bit I needed, and then, of course, I had to run over and dig through my drill index and pull out the drill index. Well, it only took me about 30 years to figure out that, geez, it'd be nice to just take a block of wood and drill some holes in it and have the tap sitting there and the corresponding drills with it. They do make commercial units that you can buy that has all the information on it, the size of the tap drill, size of the clearance drill in the center. So if you want the thread to go through the hole, those are nice also. Just makes it a little more efficient and a little more enjoyable when you do need to do some tapping. Thought I'd add that for you guys also. Well, a little more discussion on taps. I've seemed to have collected my share of taps. I've got various small sizes that I've bought from machine shops, estate sales, metric taps, again more small taps, collection of pipe taps. This was an interesting thing I bought from an estate sale where the guy, and it's pretty efficient. He had put all the taps in envelopes, and he had all the information on it. No different than that stand that I showed earlier. The clearance drill, he wrote information on that, all the different sizes. So I ended up picking up quite a bit of taps and went all the way up to ½ inch. Pretty efficient. Had it in some old milk cartons. But that worked well. And then along with my accumulation even beyond, created this kit here that again has got a variety of taps and sizes, and that's what we're going to get in and discuss, is all the various types of taps and some of the information that I never knew was written on the side of the tap. Well, when that last video kind of got cut off, I was talking about the designation written on the different taps. We'll get back to that, but just for the fun of it, I thought I would go ahead and show the air ratchet with that attachment. Earlier I said it fits into a 3/8 socket, and I meant that it attaches to a 3/8 drive ratchet. So we'll do a little aluminum here, and then we'll do a piece of steel. This is 3/8 16 is what we'll be tapping. This is a 4 flute, and this is just an Ace Hardware unit tap, nothing special. So here we go, we'll give it a roll. And then we just reverse it. Come back out. That was a 5/16 hole, which was in the aluminum. That's what's spec'd for a 5/16 tap. And it did a fine thread there. So now we'll try some steel with the same tap, see what happens. This piece of steel, I don't know what it is. It's actually a mounting bracket off of a police car from years back. So I don't know what type of steel it is, but we'll see what if this tap makes it through it. Put a little different tapping fluid on it, not WD-40. And we will give it a go. Okay. Whoop, gotta go the right direction. Okay, did it. That hole there was a letter size Q, which is the suggested size for steel. And again, I think you can see there it did a good hole. So it's one method. If you got a lot of holes that you can tap real quick just using the air ratchet in this attachment. I've done it in the past. You can also go with a little larger clearance hole if you're not really worried about the load against the thread. Okay, we'll move on to some more talking here. Okay, we'll move on to a little more discussion on taps. I just want to, really explain that I'm not a professional, not an expert, just trying to provide a little information of what I've learned and pass it on, but far from being an expert. So taps come in number of flutes, 2 flutes, 3 flutes, and 4 flutes. You can get them in high-speed steel, you can get them in cobalt. There's a variety of different materials that you can get them, tin-coated, the whole works. just pick up any kind of tooling job shop like Enco or Western Tool and page through there, and boy, there's a lot to learn. But there's main designation for taps are three type. You got taper, you have a taper tap. The taper tap in the beginning of it has 6 to 8 threads that are tapered, and then the actual threading of the tool starts. The second type of tap is a plug tap, and that one is 3 to 5 threads are tapered, and then the final tap is a bottom tap, where only 1.5 to 3 threads are tapered. All of these, the chip goes down in the hole. So to use a tapered tap with the 6 to 8 threads that are tapered, you can't get to the bottom of the hole. Plus, it's pushing the chips down there also. Same thing with the plug tap, although you can get closer, and then that's why you have a bottoming tap that'll actually almost reach the bottom of the hole. Another type of tap is called a forming tap, and the forming tap doesn't produce any chips. It's 0 chips, and there's one flute in it, and the flute is there just for the coolant or the oil. That's the only purpose. The forming tap doesn't cut threads. It forms threads. It actually impresses into the metal the threads. So they're an actual stronger thread because it's not cutting, it's actually forming the thread. And the nice thing about it, it produces no chips. It's an interesting type of unit. And then the final one I have laid out here, this one, the chip actually comes back up out of the hole, and these are called spiral fluted threads. More of a production type, but there is times where you want the thread. If you don't have a through hole, then you would want to use a unit like this if it's more production and to get the chip to come back up out of the hole. These three over here, typically you want a through hole unless you're doing a bottoming, but these you want a through hole so the chips can blow on through. I'm going to try to give you a little more information in the next segment here. But I said I wasn't an expert. Well, I guess I have to go back to that subject. I guess I am an expert at one thing in taps. I'm an expert at breaking them. I do a really good job. If anybody needs any help on how to break them, I have done my share, and so I guess I am an expert at that. All right, catch you in another discussion here shortly.